Have you ever thought about your daily routine as a story? Well, today we're going to explore exactly how we tell that story in English. And we're going to use one simple but really powerful grammar tool that, honestly, we all use without even thinking about it.
So let's kick things off with a simple question, one that defines so much of our day. Are you a morning person, somebody who's up with the sun, or are you a night owl who really comes alive after dark? As we're about to see, this one little preference can shape the entire story of your day.
And to see this in action, we're going to follow two very different people. We've got Anna, our classic night owl, and James, a true morning lark. Now, their days look completely different, but the way they talk about them, it's exactly the same.
And that brings us to the grammar of our everyday lives. See, when we talk about the things we do all the time, our habits, our routines, we're basically telling our own personal story. The main tool we use for this is the simple present tense. It's for things that are pretty much always true about us. So let's see how Anna and James use this totally naturally, right from the moment their alarms go off, or in Anna's case, maybe don't.
The morning. This is where the story of the owl and the lark really splits into two different paths. This is where we see the biggest differences in their daily lives start to show up.
And here it is, the first big difference. James is up and at 'em at 6 a.m., while Anna, she likes a couple more hours of sleep, waking up at 8. You know, those 2 hours make a huge difference. So what's the first thing they reach for? Anna needs that kickstart, that big cup of coffee. James, though, he starts his day a little differently, with water and then a calming cup of tea. It's all about that choice between instant energy and a more gentle start.
And you can probably guess, their breakfast choices follow that same pattern. Anna goes for something classic and hearty, eggs and toast. James, he keeps it light, fresh with yogurt and fruit. You can already feel their personalities just from their morning routine. Now, if we zoom out and look at their entire day at a glance, you can really see the whole picture. They both work a standard 9 to 5, right? But the start and end of their days are totally different. James's whole schedule is shifted early, while Anna's is pushed 2 hours later.
Okay, let's jump into the middle of their story, the workday. Now, you might think this is where their lives would start to look the same, but nope. Their different approaches just keep on going.
I mean, their work environments could not be more different. Anna, she thrives in that busy, buzzing, high-energy office. James, on the other hand, he loves the calm, quiet vibe of a library, surrounded by books.
And how they get to work is just as different. Anna has to deal with that daily traffic in her car, a real source of stress for a lot of us. James, he gets to enjoy a nice, peaceful 10-minute walk. That little detail can have a huge impact on your day.
You know, even their lunch break tells a story about who they are. Anna uses it to be social, to meet up with her friend David. James, he prefers a more quiet, relaxing break, just eating a sandwich in a park. It's social energy versus quiet reflection. So the workday is done. How do they recharge? This is where their own passions and personalities really get a chance to shine. Anna likes to unwind by being creative, maybe a little loud. She picks up her guitar. You know, it's not about being a rock star or anything. It's just about the fun of making music. And James, true to form, finds his escape in the quiet pages of a book. For him, reading is like taking a journey to another world. A perfect, peaceful way to end his day. What about dinner? Well, Anna keeps it simple, practical. Pasta is her go-to meal. James, though, he sees cooking as another way to be creative, putting together meals with vegetables and chicken. It's practicality versus passion, right there on a plate. And this brings us completely full circle. James is in bed by 10 p.m. getting ready for his early start. But Anna, our night owl, she feels most at home in the quiet of the late evening, finally hitting to bed around midnight.
Okay, so we've heard their stories, right? Full of all these little habits and routines. Now, let's take a quick peek under the hood and look at the simple but super powerful grammar rule that made telling those stories possible. So here's the most important takeaway. The simple present is the tense we use for the timeless truths about our lives. I drink coffee. He works in a library. These kinds of sentences describe who we are by describing what we do.
And the rule for this is so simple. For I, you, we, and they, you just use the plain old verb. The only time it changes is for he, she, or it. You just add an S. So James walks to work, Anna plays the guitar. That's really it. And asking questions, just as easy. You just pop do or does at the beginning. Add your subject and then the verb. Do you wake up early? Does Anna play the guitar? It's a simple little formula for any question you have about routines.
All right, now it's your turn. Think about your own routine for a second. Are you more of an Anna or a James? You can use these questions right here to start building the sentences that tell your story. What do you do every day?
You see, every routine is its own little story, and now you have the key to telling yours. So what's one simple sentence that captures a piece of your day? That single sentence, that's the beginning of your daily story.
Welcome back. Today we're diving into a set of sources that paint a really vivid picture, a contrast between two people leaving the same 24 hours in ways that are, well, almost polar opposites.
That's right. It's the classic morning person versus night owl scenario. But we're not just looking at their schedules.
No, definitely not.
We're digging deeper into the language itself, how we actually talk about these routines.
Right, the grammar underneath it all.
Exactly. Specifically, the simple present tense. That's the structure we use for habits, for things we do every day, sometimes, or, never. It's how we describe these regular patterns.
And our sources give us these two fantastic examples. This super early bird and the one who really loves their sleep. It's a great way to see how language captures these different ways of living.
It really is. The contrast starts the moment their alarms go off. Or, well, maybe don't go off at the same time.
Okay, let's start with the night owl. The source material is pretty blunt. This person is not a morning person.
Yeah.
Loves their bed.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't wake up until 8:00 a.m. on weekdays. And even later on weekends, apparently.
Yeah, quite a bit later. You can feel that struggle against the morning.
Whereas the morning person, totally different story. Up at 6:00 a.m. sharp.
Every single day.
Every day. Weekends, too. That consistency is pretty striking. Think about the sheer difference in waking hours over a week.
That's a huge difference in just, available morning time. And their first actions really highlight their priorities, don't they?
Absolutely. The night owl needs that immediate jolt. First thing, make coffee, a big cup.
Needs the energy, right? It's like a necessity.
Definitely seems that way. But the morning person's first move is different. It's more about setting a tone.
What do they do?
Opens the window, gets some fresh air,
Yeah.
then drinks a big glass of water.
Water, not coffee. Interesting.
Yeah. The source notes they prefer tea later in the morning, finds it calming. So no caffeine dependency first thing.
And breakfast follows that pattern too. The night owl goes for something substantial.
Eggs and toast. A classic hearty breakfast. Probably need that fuel after the late start and the coffee.
Whereas the morning person who's already had water, maybe done a little exercise mentioned in the source.
Right, just a little exercise, then a shower. Their breakfast is lighter, yogurt and fruit usually. Sometimes toast with jam.
It's like one is fueling up to cope and the other is building a foundation.
That's a good way to put it. The morning person seems quite proactive. Water, exercise, fresh air. The night owl is more reactive, maybe needing that big energy hit to get going.
Sets them on completely different tracks for the day.
Yeah, and it's fascinating because despite those different starts, their core work schedule is the same.
Right. 9:00 a.m. to 5:00 p.m., Monday to Friday. Standard stuff.
But where they work and how they get there. Big difference again.
Okay, tell us about the morning person.
Works in a small library. The source says they love books, like the quiet, but also enjoy seeing the people, families coming in.
Seems quite peaceful. And the commute.
Easy. A 10-minute walk. Often listens to music or a podcast. Low stress.
Okay, paints a nice picture. Now, the night owl.
Works in an office. Described explicitly as not quiet.
Not ideal, maybe?
And the commute. Driving. Often hits bad traffic.
Oof. So stress levels probably ticking up before they even start work. You can see why the coffee is essential.
Exactly. It builds this narrative, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And that contrast carries right through to lunchtime, around 1:00 p.m.
How so?
The morning person is, well, quite practical. Usually brings lunch from home,
Smart. Saves money. Probably healthier.
often a salad or a sandwich. And if the weather's nice, they eat outside in a little park near the library.
Getting away from it all for a bit. Quiet break.
Yeah, seems like it. Sun, trees, relaxation, a real pause.
And the night owl. Still dealing with that noisy office vibe.
Their lunch is more external, more social. Sometimes goes out to a small cafe nearby. Good sandwiches, the source says.
Okay.
And usually eats with a work friend, David. They talk about sports, movies. It's more about engaging outwards.
Replenishing energy through interaction, maybe, rather than quiet.
Could be. And their afternoons reflect that too. The morning person's afternoon is busy with people, families, kids, sometimes reading stories, human connection.
Sounds engaging in a nice way.
While the night owl's afternoon sounds intense. Lots of emails, phone calls,
And the source mentions needing.
more coffee.
Of course.
Yeah.
More coffee. It's a recurring theme. Okay, so work's done. That crucial time after 5 p.m. How do they decompress?
The morning person has a clear responsibility waiting at home.
Ah, right. Max the dog.
Yep. First thing is saying hello to Max, then taking him for a walk
Yeah.
in the park. So their relaxation starts with activity, responsibility, getting outside again.
And their main hobby fits that sort of quiet, home-based vibe, too.
Reading, lots of books at home.
Makes sense for someone who works in a library. Now, the night owl, after the noisy office and traffic.
Their wind down is more about escape, I think. They listen to music. Rock and jazz are mentioned,
Okay.
or plays the guitar, for about an hour. Described as a way to travel to other worlds and relax.
So, an internal retreat. Music is therapy, almost.
Seems like it. A definite shift away from the day's demands. Then comes dinner, around 7:00 p.m.
Let me guess. Differences here, too.
Big time. The morning person actually enjoys cooking, sees it as creative.
What kind of things?
Vegetables, chicken, sometimes fish, healthy stuff. And Max gets his dinner too, so it's all integrated.
Right. Responsibility and creativity combined. And the night owl. Does the guitar playing extend to culinary arts?
Not so much. The source says they're not a good cook.
Okay, fair enough.
Specializes in simple things. Pasta with tomato sauce is the example goer. Quick, easy, functional.
Matches the need for simplicity, maybe? What about keeping in touch with family?
Both do, but on slightly different schedules. The morning person usually calls parents on the weekend.
Okay.
The night owl calls parents more often Wednesday and Sunday.
Uh-huh.
And talks to his sister a few times a week too. Maybe needing that connection midweek after the office grind.
Could be. It's interesting how even that is part of the routine.
Absolutely. And speaking of routines and simplicity, the source includes this funny little observation.
Oh, yeah.
It suggests the night owl should get a cat
A cat. Why a cat?
because they're a perfect match. It mentions a friend's cat, Leo,
Leo the cat, okay.
and Leo's life. Wake up, eat, sleep, eat again, sleep again.
Haha. The dream life.
Exactly. The ultimate simple routine. The source is kind of humorously saying the night owl is seeking the kind of uncomplicated existence Leo just has.
Okay, so we have these two really well-drawn characters, these contrasting lifestyles. But let's pivot back to the language, the grammar. How does the simple present tense actually do all this work?
Well, it's the tense of habit, of consistency, of things that are generally true. It allows us to paint a picture of someone's identity through their regular actions, not just isolated events.
Right. It's not just what they did yesterday, but what they do.
Exactly. And the source material implicitly uses a couple of key features of this tense that really add the nuance.
Okay, like what?
First, think about how often things happen. The routines aren't just listed, they're qualified.
You mean like always, sometimes, usually?
Precisely. Adverbs of frequency. They're crucial. The morning person always wakes up at 6:00 a.m. That tells you about their discipline.
Whereas a night owl sometimes goes out for lunch. That shows flexibility or maybe less structure.
Exactly right. Usually brings lunch, sometimes reads stories, usually calls parents. These little words modify the verb and tell us so much more about the nature of the habit. It's not just do, but how often do.
That makes sense. It adds texture to the routine. What's the second key thing?
This one is fundamental to English grammar, but seeing it through these routines makes it really clear. It's about perspective. Who are we talking about?
Okay.
When we talk about ourselves, I or you or we or they, the verb form is simple. Base form, I walk, you work, we eat, they sleep.
Standard.
But the moment we shift perspective to talk about a third person singular he, she, or it,
Ah, the ease.
the famous ease, that tiny sound makes all the difference. It signals we're talking about someone or something else's routine, their habitual actions.
So, using the examples from the source.
Right? The morning person has a dog, Max. So Max plays with his ball. Not Max play. That's Max is the actor.
And the night owl's friend, David.
David discusses sports and movies. Or Leo the cat. Leo eats his food.
It seems so small. But you're saying it's actually drawing a grammatical line between me and the rest of the world.
In a way, yes. It's the marker that allows it to describe the consistent actions and states of everything outside our immediate group, i.e. they. It's the language we use to observe and report on the habits of others, or the way things generally are. It's deceptively powerful.
That really does change how you think about such a basic rule. It's not just conjugation, it's perspective.
And, fittingly, the day ends for both individuals in a way that perfectly mirrors how it began confirming their core identity.
Sticking to their clocks, right?
Exactly. The morning person, true to form, goes to bed early, around 10:00 p.m.
Makes sense after being up since 6 a.m. Reads a bit first, the source says.
Yeah, a little reading in bed, then lights out. Ready for the next early start.
And the night owl burns the midnight oil.
Pretty much. Stays up late, 11:30 p.m., or even midnight. They value that quiet time late at night when the world has wound down.
The opposite of the morning person who treasures the early quiet.
Precisely. So, two very different paths through the same 24 hours. Library versus office, walk versus drive, tea versus coffee, dog versus guitar.
But underneath all that difference, the way we describe it, the way we understand it as routine, relies on that same simple grammatical structure.
That's the key takeaway. The simple present tense is the narrative engine for describing consistency, for telling our daily stories and understanding the stories of others.
So let's turn this back to you, the listener. We've just walked through these two contrasting days.
Think about your own routine. How does it stack up? Are you up with the lark like the morning person, or do you hit snooze like the night owl?
What's your first drink? Water, tea, coffee? Do you always make breakfast or sometimes grab something on the go?
Do you walk to work, or does traffic often make you late? What do you do in the evening? Do you read? Does your pet demand a walk?
And here's that final thought to chew on, building on what we just discussed about grammar.
Consider the incredible power packed into that tiny little is we add for he, she, and it. He walks, she reads, the cat sleeps.
It seems like just a minor rule, doesn't it?
But that single sound is the grammatical hinge that allows you to describe the entire predictable routine world outside of your own direct experience. It's the key to observing and sharing the habits that make up, well, almost everything. Quite something for one little letter.